Hey everybody, Smart Silver Stacker here. There is something going on in the market for physical silver products like this 1 ounce silver round. Right now, the supply of products like this has gotten very tight. Delivery times to dealers have gotten rather long, and as a result, the premiums on these products have risen significantly. So if you want to get a 1 ounce silver round like this one in my hand, right now you're going to have to pay about $5 to $6 over the spot price of silver. The premiums on sovereign mint products like US Silver Eagles and Canadian Maple Leaves have gotten even worse. The spot price of silver is under 25 bucks, but if you want to go buy a US Silver Eagle, you're going to be paying about $38, which to me is just mind-blowing. I mean, I'm personally not stacking Eagles at these prices, but I don't know. I mean, the premium keeps going up. Maybe that's going to continue. And that's kind of what I want to talk about in this video. I'm going to go over some charts and some data with you that will demonstrate why I believe that although the market for physical silver products has gotten extremely tight, that trend is going to continue into the future. And it's not just silver. Gold sales have also picked up considerably, and we're going to talk a little bit about that too. And we got some really interesting stuff to cover, so let's get to it. All right, so I mentioned gold sales have picked up recently, and here's a headline from Kitco. U.S. Mint sees strongest gold bullion demand in 23 years, sells 426,000 ounces in Q1. So basically, what this article is about, this quarter, Q1 that just ended, was the best quarter in 23 years for gold sales at the U.S. Mint, 426,000 ounces, and that is up 3.5% from the first quarter of 2021. I think that shows that investors are realizing what's going on with the dollar, what's going on with inflation, and the article actually attributes the demand for physical precious metals to inflation and the Russian war in Ukraine. And yeah, absolutely. I think that geopolitical instability is certainly a motivator for investors who move into gold and also into silver. And the article goes on to say that silver sales year over year are actually down. However, it does not attribute that to a drop in demand, but rather just the tight supply and how high premiums have gotten. Certainly, I do think that a lot of stackers and a lot of investors are hesitant to pay the higher premiums that are out there in the silver market. Now, I know as a small-time stacker like myself, there are deals to be found. I mean, you can go out and you can find silver bars maybe that are $2 or $3 over the spot price of silver. Actually, $2.79 I think is the best I saw today when I was looking around at a couple of different products. It's not like you can't find the deals out there, but if you want to get a specific bullion product or a 1 ounce round or a sovereign product like a US Silver Eagle, you're going to be paying a lot over the spot price. I want to go over a couple of charts that show why I do think that even though the market for silver right now is very tight, it could get a lot worse. First, we're going to take a look at this Google Trends chart, and we'll be looking at a few Google Trends charts in this video, but this one is for the term petrodollar. I wanted to start with this one because I think it illustrates pretty nicely that the awareness of what's going on in the global economy, how our monetary system works, it's kind of beginning to dawn on people. And if you go back, there's a few times when the search for petrodollar spiked, and this is going back all the way to 2004, but you can see that recently the spike that we've seen in volume for that search term has absolutely dwarfed anything we've seen in the past. And I just wanted to show you this to demonstrate that people are starting to kind of wake up to what the financial system we have is all about. And similarly, if you look at this chart for the search term inflation, at this point, inflation is really becoming too serious for people to ignore it. Now, there are a number of voices out there who have been warning of inflation for a while now, myself included. The real awareness of that is starting to, I think, sink in as people start seeing, they're going to the gas pump and they're wondering, why am I paying over $4 for a gallon of gas? And that's the sort of thing that really will begin to serve as a wake-up call. There were these headlines over the weekend like this one from a German publication, The Local, Germany's news in English. German consumers to be hit by further price hikes in supermarkets. And I saw some headlines about how Aldi was going to be raising prices 20 to 50% this week. And that's Aldi in Germany, by the way, not in the US. But this just goes to show that, these price hikes can kind of happen slowly and then a lot all at once. And we may be in for some things like that in the US, but that inflation chart from Google Trends, I think, shows that people are at least starting to become cognizant of inflation and become aware of it. And it's hard not to when it starts really impacting your finances. Another example of what is getting into people's mindset is this search for food shortage. And you can see that right now there are more people searching for food shortage than at any point since 2004. This is just a quick side note, but you guys, if you're just stacking silver, you might want to also consider stacking some food. You don't want to be caught without food because you don't want to be liquidating your precious metals just to get your hands on food when you could have saved yourself that trouble just by stacking up some food, which right now is still, relatively cheap. Now, the next chart, though, this is where we really get into why I believe the shortage in precious metals could still get significantly worse and the supply could get even tighter, specifically with silver. Here's the chart for silver bullion as a search term. Now, you can see it did spike up back in March of 2021 and February of 2021. That probably had to do with the silver squeeze. And right now you can see that we're not even anywhere near that peak. I just wanted to put this up to demonstrate that even though people are searching for inflation and they're becoming aware of things like the petrodollar, they're not looking for silver bullion yet. They're not looking for ways to protect their purchasing power. They're just getting familiar with the idea of inflation. A lot of folks out there who are looking up the term inflation probably never gave inflation a second thought or never really had any idea what it even meant. A lot of this has to do with our educational system and also the mainstream media, which constantly tries to obfuscate and downplay the inflation that we're experiencing. And I think a really important aspect of inflation that a lot of people get wrong is that inflation is the rising prices. And in reality, the inflation is the expansion of the money supply. And then the prices that we're seeing begin to rise now, that is a lagging indicator of inflation. That is something that you experience after credit and the monetary supply have been expanded. So, we're just beginning to see the inflation of the past decade work its way into prices. And it's not like what Joe Biden says. Biden says that Putin is responsible for our inflation. And he might be responsible possibly for a few spikes up in commodities. But the general trend of inflation has been in place long before Putin invaded Ukraine. So I think that's important to note as well. But the real takeaway that I wanted to get from this chart and also from this next one, this one for the term gold bullion, you can see that the last spike we saw in that was in 2008 during that financial crisis. And since then, there have been a couple of ups and downs, but gold bullion is still largely off of people's radar, despite the fact that the mint just had its best quarter in 23 years. When inflation really starts to rear its head, investors and the public at large really begin to grasp what is going on with our monetary system, and it becomes so dire that the consequences of all this fiat money creation are just impossible to ignore. That is when you're going to see these charts, the ones for gold bullion and silver bullion, begin to spike. Essentially what I'm saying here is even though there are tight markets for silver bullion, and even though there are increasing sales at the mint of gold bullion, the public still is not moving into that space in a big way. And so the next financial crisis, the one we're headed towards right now, it is going to be a lot worse than the one in 2008. It's going to be a lot worse than the one in 2020. And the Fed response is going to be significantly larger. They're going to be creating more fiat currency than they've ever created before. That, I think, is when we're really going to start to see these charts move up, the way that inflation and the petrodollar chart are moving up right now. And, if you don't know about Google Trends, basically all these charts they're just telling you in relative terms what people are searching for using Google. It's a very interesting data set, and I think it gives you a lot of insight into the psychology of the public. What do you think these charts reveal? I would really be curious to know. I'd also like to know, are you buying gold right now? Are you buying silver right now? Will you pay the elevated premiums that are in the silver market? I'm still doing a little stacking. I'm kind of holding off, though. I think it's good to have some cash right now as well, just because things are so uncertain. I have a core position in physical metals already established. If I didn't have that, I probably would be doing some stacking. I think that there are some deals out there right now. If you really shop around, you can find some low premium silver. And if I were to buy silver right now, that's probably what I would buy. And of course, none of this is financial advice. I am just telling you my thoughts and what I would be doing or what I am doing. Don't make any investment decisions based on what you see on this channel. Make sure you do your own due diligence and your own research. But I always want to know what you are doing. So let me know in the comments below because one, I don't make these videos for me. I make them for all of you. So I always like to hear what you have to say. And also, I think, we have a nice community going on this channel now. I know all of you watching pay attention to a lot of this stuff. So the comment sections of these videos, it's kind of an interesting way to get a finger on the pulse of what all of you are observing right now. So please do leave a comment. Thank you all very much for watching and doing that. And if you like the video, give it a big thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. If you want to see more videos like this, check out the ones that are popping up on your screen right now, and I will catch you next time. Smart Silver Stacker, out.